This is Tony from Restrain, and you're listening to my favorite Kiss podcast, Shout It Out Loudcast with Tom and Zeus.
Welcome to another episode of Dorm Damage, where anything and everything is on the table and the table gets smashed. This is episode 5. We're calling this one Classic TV. Zeus. Sup,
bitch?
Classic TV. Now, this is going to really be interesting for our listeners, depending on how old or young they are.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at doing this one about shows that we grew up with and the nostalgia behind it and shows that we watched on syndication. So we're not talking about shows like The Cosby Show, Family Ties, Dukes of Hazzard, shows that were in the 80s. We're talking about shows that started before the 80s. They may have, wandered into the 80s, but mostly in the 70s, 50s, 60s, and all that, and shows that we grew up with, basically.
Yeah, and it could be actually could be a combination of syndicated shows and shows that were actually like on in the 70s, that we were growing up. So to paint the picture of people, Zeus and I are 49 years old, born in 1973, born in the age when you had like 3 or 4 channels and you had to get up off your fat ass and turn the knob, and your father's remote control was your hand getting up and change the channel.
So it's funny. We had channel 4, 5, and 7.
Yep.
And channel 2, which was PBS.
Yep. And then you had 25, 38, and 56.
And if you were lucky, sometimes 68.
Yes, that's right.
Those were the channels we had in the Boston area, New England, kind of. That's what we grew up with. What's always interesting about where we grew up in these things is you find, especially in sports, people that are still like Giants fans in this area because the Pats weren't in the NFL, so they followed the Giants. Mm-hmm. Or you have no idea how many people tell me that they're Bruins fans because they would catch TV 38 up in Montreal and outside New England. How many hockey fans are Bruins fans because that travel, and that was the only channel they could see.
Yeah, and this is also back in and this is also back in the sports era of blackout games. Oh, remember that? Ooh, growing up when the Patriots were terrible, there were years where I could never see a Patriots game because it was just blacked out.
Oh, we got to win this year. Oh, we got 3 this year.
And for those that don't understand what a blackout game is, that meant say the Patriots are playing at home in Foxborough, Sullivan Stadium. If that game is not sold out, they don't show the game on TV. So the game had to be a home game sellout for it to be shown on TV. They got rid of that ages ago, the sellout, the blackout thing. But that's how it was. Be like, oh, Patriots suck again. They're not on TV.
Yeah. But we did get to see Howie Long and what's his name punched the Patriots GM in the face, though. What's his
Howie
name?
Long.
Who's the other guy? Matt Millen. And he punched the GM. What's his name?
Dude, Matt Millen's more famous for being a horrendous GM for the Detroit Lions than he is for being a good linebacker.
And punching the Patriots GM in the face.
Which one? Victor Kayem?
No, one of the Sullivans. Hey, get your tires.
This is Paul Sullivan from Sullivan Tire. Thanks, Paul. I don't even know if that Sullivan is related to the Patriots.
I thought they were. I thought
was it Billy Sullivan? Yeah, they're like the Bulges in friggin' the Boston area. Oh, that'll be an upcoming episode. The Winter Hill Gang.
Bulges. Oh man. Anyway, yeah. So we were gonna think about like coming up and having just a discussion. What did you grow up with? What did you, when you came from school, what did you do on the weekends?
Yeah. Like what was TV like when you were growing up?
What was it like in young Tom's house growing up?
So we grew up, and I'm sure you did too, and most people our age, they grew up in the era of those big giant furniture TVs.
Yeah.
Yes. And also in
Hold on, let me get the good china. You're blocking the TV. Well, it's in the TV unit. Hold on.
Exactly. That was also the era of actually getting your TV repaired. Like you would go and get I need a new fucking tube for the what? Now it's just this 60-inch TV doesn't work. I'm just gonna throw it away and buy a new one at Walmart.
I remember doing this. It would also have the radio dial.
Yeah.
And to move the station, and you would keep switching it. I remember pushing it so far that it went off the thing.
Yeah, it would break.
Couldn't get it back. It went off the screen.
Yeah.
Turning the knob. No.
Yeah. TV. So I've mentioned this before in other episodes. I had a sister 4 years old. TV was kind of like a big deal, but then again, it was a kind of a big deal for a lot of people our age because there really was nothing else. Obviously, no social media, no internet. Video games didn't come around until we got the Atari and stuff. So you really had nothing but TV. And it was in my house, there were certain days of the week or times of the day where it was like a family thing, 7 o'clock, we're going to watch the Muppet Show or whatever. You know what I mean?
The Muppet Show. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or, Saturday morning cartoons, that kind of stuff. And 8 o'clock was prime time. 8 o'clock is when the shows came on. You know what I mean? And it was a shared experience. Back then you had the Saturday movie of the week on ABC. Sunday was there'd be, if sports weren't on, there'd be a movie on or something. And that was the movie that you'd watch. And, I remember my mom cooking dinner in the kitchen and, around the corner would be the living room with the TV and what's on. I don't know. We're going to watch, fucking 48 Hours or whatever the fucking, whatever. That's a good family movie.
The Thornbirds.
Oh, that was in the era of TV miniseries.
Yes. Do you remember those series?
Those were events.
Yeah, they would last. They would be all over TV Guide, all the news. These TV series would dominate and have millions of Super Bowl level type numbers.
You just brought up the other massive bit of TV nostalgia, the TV Guide.
Oh.
Dude, subscribing to when it was small, when it was the size of a pocket crossword puzzle book, and you would look at it and it would have previews, upcoming events, highlighted things, and you would look that Seinfeld episode with the TV Guide. You would look through the TV Guide and you'd be because if you didn't have the TV Guide, you had no idea what was on TV. Same thing with the newspaper. If you didn't have the newspaper, you didn't know what movies were playing at the theater.
Yeah. Oh, why don't you just tell us the name of the movie you want to see?
Then movie for.
Yeah. I used to call the Boston Herald to get the game scores sometimes.
We did that when we were in college gambling.
Yeah. Well, that's a different story.
And I learned quickly that the team they say first is the team that won. Oh. So if you bet on the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers, looking at the NBA, it was Boston. You're fuck, Boston won. That means I lost.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wouldn't be that. You wouldn't be looking to see if the Celtics won. You guys, you gamblers, would be it was Western Alaska State versus University of Boise Technical Institute. You're fuck, they covered.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it was just so funny how back then, like you said, with the Thornbirds and stuff, those were events, and it would be funny, part one.
Do you remember as a little kid when Roots came?
Yeah, but it was funny. Each part would be a week away. Every Saturday night, you would have to watch. That was it. You have to wait a week.
But it was all in the news. It was the big thing.
Yep.
And growing up, I don't know how much you had. You guys, you're not first generation. I am.
Yep.
So in my household, I always tell the story of my grandfather.
Yep.
So when I never spoke the language, came over here, 60s, late 60s, and the things that he would watch were all Westerns and wrestling. Because you didn't need to learn the language to watch. That's the good guy. That's the bad guy. He got me invested in wrestling, and he got me invested in Westerns. So a couple of things that stick out to me are like non-television program things. I would say is watching Saturday morning wrestlings.
Yep.
And then sometimes Saturday afternoon, you'd catch the Atlanta wrestlers like the Flair, whatever he was doing, or the Von Erichs.
What about the Duke of Dorchester? Would you catch him on in the afternoon?
No, I didn't catch Barry O and the rest of the fucking goons. But I would watch that. I watched, he would always have Big Valley, the Virginian. Yep. What's the one with
Gunsmoke?
Gunsmoke. The
Rifleman.
The Rifleman. I love fucking Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors.
Oh, he was the best. And you'll see, I'll be talking about a show of his coming up. But the other one was what's the one with Lorne Green and Michael Landon?
Wild King. Wild King.
Bonanza and Bonanza.
I'm thinking Lorne Green. I'm thinking Wild Kingdom.
I'm thinking Battlestar Galactica.
No.
So I would watch a lot of those Westerns growing up and see some of that stuff. And then, you would have our Saturday cartoons.
That's another thing, though, like bringing that up, like watching TV with, like you watch stuff with your grandfather. I'm sure you watch stuff with your dad. I watch a lot of stuff with my dad. I didn't watch any
shit with my dad. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Okay.
He never watched, like, other than sports. My dad doesn't watch TV. He worked nonstop in the restaurants.
Okay.
Eventually, my parents were able to get that Greek TV stuff, and so that was their stuff, and we had our own. So I never grew up watching TV with my parents. I grew up watching it a little with my brother if he let me hang out with him, if I was cool enough at that point, or cousins and friends, and or my grandfather and stuff. I'd watch TV with him, but I don't know if I watched it with my dad. I just remember being aware of what he was watching, and then I would just kind of sidle up and like watch the stuff. And it was like the classic sitcoms, and it was always anything that had to do with like Rockford Files or like cop PI. Well, yeah, that kind of stuff, but stuff that was Barnaby Jones.
No, not Barnaby Jones. That one we did not watch. But stuff that had like a comedic, because like Jim Rockford was kind of like a wise ass, but the show was always like fun. All the other stupid shit, like wisecracking guys, like that kind of stuff, and then sitcoms. And I don't want to give away many others because we're going to run down at the end of the episode a couple of favorites. But those are the fun things too. How about this? I don't know, because you had a sister, I had a brother. Yep.
Creature double feature, all the Godzilla shit.
Oh, I watched. Oh, yeah. Saturdays. That was on most of the time.
Saturdays. Yeah. Watching all those Godzilla things.
Yep.
And being like, why is everybody Japanese? Where the fuck is America?
Where are the cameras?
Exactly.
Huh? The other big thing too was being so. There was a weird phase in the late 70s, early 80s. My parents had their best friends from like high school, and every Saturday night, my parents would either go to their house, or they would come to our house, or they would go to like dinner. And it was like a Saturday night out. And I'm like thinking like now, like I remember like my dad would put on like a shirt and tie. And
yeah.
Now it's like, are you coming over? Hold on, let me throw on my slides and a fucking Kiss shirt.
Exactly.
like it's amazing how formal.
It's that Sebastian Maniscalco thing about it's called company.
Yeah, exactly. That was a word. Yeah, we had company. My mom did have the Sara Lee over to the side.
Yeah, but like I know, like we'd have family. Oh, your godfather's coming to see you. My godfather, I haven't seen him so long. He gave me $20. He's the nicest man. Meanwhile, he's asking my dad, "Hey, you got $500 I can borrow?"
You got $500. I just called that sports line and I lost.
My dad cut him off. I'd never see. What happened to my godfather? Why doesn't he come around anymore?
He's no good.
Yeah, piece of shit.
And then my grandmother would come to the house and like, babysit because my sister and I were young at the time. And then we would be forced to watch some of her shows.
All right. Please tell me that your grandma, because mine, who doesn't speak any English,
go ahead,
made us watch the Lawrence Welk Show.
Boom! You just stole it. That was it, brother.
Right?
That's the big one.
And I'm like, why the fuck am I watching this shit? Who the fuck gave this guy? Looking back now, who the fuck gave that guy a fucking TV show all those years?
Yep. The Lawrence Welk Show was burned in my brain on every time. I'm like, oh,
Nana too.
Yeah, Grandma's coming over. Oh, Lawrence Welk. I'm like, oh God, kill me.
Oh, and you know the other thing she liked? Family Feud.
Oh yeah, well, game shows were, but Family Feud was always big.
The Price is Right on the Saturday. Oh my God,
Family Feud, you could play that like sitting around like the fam, like after dinner or something. You could play that together. So that was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
My grandmother loved The Price is Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know my favorite thing, my favorite story of my grandmother and TV. So she didn't understand really the concept. She would watch the hockey games.
Oh, okay.
And the Bruins would give up a goal.
Yeah.
And then they show the replay. And in Greek, she'd be like, the idiots, they gave up another one.
Oh,
no, you're trying to.
They're showing it again.
No, that's a replay. They gave up another one.
Oh, the poor woman.
Yeah.
Then another thing, the kids today, like when something was on. So specifically referencing like the holiday specials, like Rudolph and Frosty. When that was on, when those were on, and if you missed it, that's it. No DVD.
You were pissed.
There was no DVD. There was no on demand. There was no VCR to record it. Like it was, and that was an event. And that's where the TV guide came in. You'd flip and be like, "Oh, Charlie Brown's going to be on Tuesday night at 8. Boom, there we go. And if you missed it,
try to catch every Charlie Brown holiday special.
All of them.
Yeah,
and I remember. And I remember there were certain ones that were like so like hard to like. I remember like the Heat Miser. Like, when is that going to be on? It's never on. I can't find it.
And then the rumor is they put it off because they say hell in it.
Yeah,
devil or something. They took it off. They don't show it anymore.
But like Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. If you missed that, you got to wait till next Halloween.
And then everybody would talk about it the next day. Did you see it? Did you see it? In grade school. Yeah. And the other one was, I remember missing, and I saw it, and I would try to see it every year, but maybe they just stopped playing it because it wasn't that good to us. Fat Albert's Halloween Special. Fat Albert. Dude, that is a morbidly obese 400-pound teenager.
Give me candy, huh? And then growing up too, and this is before they signed this. Well, this is obviously before streaming and everything, but before this movie signed a deal, it might have been with NBC. It was like, what do they call it? Like public domain or whatever. And It's a Wonderful Life was on every channel every day during the month of December. It was on, really? and then they signed. Yeah, then there was like some kind of deal where they signed a deal with like NBC or a network, and they would show it like once or twice, and that was it. But before, it would be on constantly, like 56, 38, like all day long.
I love
every
that
day.
shit. Yeah,
oh, me too. Me too.
And then you'd get into, this is pre-cable. We can get into the cable stuff.
Oh yeah,
and the movies and the cheesy 80s movies that they kept playing the same 20 movies over and over again in early cable days.
Yep.
But yeah, you would try to watch those, and if you missed it, you were fucking shit out of luck.
Oh yeah, cable. That could be a whole future episode. 80s, the advent of cable. That can be a whole other thing.
Yeah, and so the things that we grew up with kind of sound similar. And then there were the sitcoms. There were the serious shows. There were the westerns. There were the cop shows that we'd watch.
Variety shows. I got one on my list here. I got one on my list here that was huge in my house.
All right, so we were like, I don't want to make this I want to have a discussion on this.
Yeah.
But us, we can't do anything without a list. So we said, let's come up with a playlist of 10, not in order. We're not doing these in order.
No.
So, let me start this one off, Tom.
Okay, go ahead.
And till this day, if it's on, I will watch it. Don't ask me why.
I know what it is.
The Brady Bunch.
Yep. Me too.
It has to be on here. We all watch it. We're all embarrassed by it, but we watch it.
Obsessively watched it. And you would be like, oh, this is an old episode. This one's about Bobby. You'd be like, oh, this episode's about Jan. Fuck.
Like, I always try to watch it for the cringe factor of Mike. Like, what the fuck, Bobby? I said, put that shit down. Like, see if he would ever snap, and how he everything was done like the perfect parenting way.
Yeah.
And everything was like, nobody was out of the way. Even when the teaching about English, even that.
Baby chalk, it's the one you can walk.
Hey, people made fun of the way I talk too. So I called up Pete Brady to fucking beat some kid up for me.
Hey, these two fucking assholes from Boston keep picking on me. He take care of them for me. Thanks, Peter. Not Peter Chris, Peter Brady.
All right, Pete, I'll see you later. Thanks a lot.
And then you're like, oh, this is an episode they're going to show Sam the Butcher. Oh, he's funny.
Sam the Butcher. Remember the one where he was a KGB agent? Like all that shit you got into and you remember, Bobby and the fucking soap and made the whole house full of soap.
Or Greg when his hair turns orange because he buys the fucking hair.
When he had the Mexican mustache and they went out on the date.
Johnny Bravo.
And they went on the date with those other Mexican people and the Mexican guy's like, those young men are necking over there. And it's Greg and Peter with a big, thick mustache. And
then the episodes when Marsha got hot. When she was like older. Oh.
Dude, let's come on. The episode is when she gets fucking drilled in the nose. Boom.
Oh, that's because I don't know how to fucking play football. Dude, terrible throw. Watch the instant replay on that. Terrible throw.
Ooh, Alice is giving them some lessons at night.
Ooh, Sam the Butcher. Like the Beastie Boys once said, like Sam the Butcher bringing Alice the meat. Oh.
So I have the Brady Bunch because as corny, as cheesy as it was, that thing is till this day. If the Brady Bunch something's on, a Brady Bunch reunion, a Brady Bunch, you stop and watch it. Let's be honest.
Yep.
And there's a lot of copycats from that.
Oh, big time.
From that show. 8 is enough and stupid shit like that. And
don't forget, before we move on from the Brady Bunch, let's not forget about the worst thing in the history of the Brady Bunch, that little fucker, Oliver.
When Eric Singer joins the fucking cast.
That little fucking dork. And it was so funny because he knew he was a dork.
Oh, I don't know what was worse, that haircut, which was prevalent in that day. Him and the kid from 8 is Enough, like, got those fucking hairdos that everyone started getting.
The big bowl cuts.
Yeah, the mushroom dick head.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Or those John Lennon goggles he used to wear.
Oh, fucking twerp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right, we're gonna have some similar ones here. So Brady Bunch on my list. Now I'll save this one because I didn't really get into this until I was a little bit older because my parents were like, "Yeah, you're not watching this right now." But a big one that we used to watch, and I know you obviously fucking love it, was Good Times.
Oh, dude! I mean, hands down, the best TV dad of all time.
Of course he's the best TV dad. And I'll tell you right now, it's still burned in my brain. That episode when they get the telegram that he's dead.
Fucking
do you remember that?
Stupid fucking they got in Norman Lear and him got into it. Dude, he was the best. Anytime like something happened and then his temper would come in his eyes and his nostrils would flare.
Terrifying.
Dude, he beat the kid with a belt on TV.
Yeah.
It wasn't even his kid. He was like whacking the fucking kid.
He was, and then you had Walona and Buffalo Butt, Mr. Bookman.
And all the other characters, Sweet Daddy. What's his name? The wino? What's his name?
Oh, okay.
And then who's the other one? Sweet Lenny used to come out with the big glasses, open up his jacket, and he'd all have all the fucking counterfeit shit he was selling.
Yeah, it's almost like John Amos was like, "Hey, coming to America, use some of this shit that was in Good Times."
Oh, jeez.
And then don't forget a young Janet Jackson with a very serious episode. Remember her?
But she was getting beaten.
Her mom was burning her with the iron. Remember that episode?
What kind of shit were they laughing at?
What are we doing between that and friggin' the kids getting friggin' abused by the friggin' Different Strokes Mr. Bike Shop guy?
We'll get to that one.
I know we'll get to that. I'm sorry.
But I don't know. Good Times was everything like they wanted to show you. Like, it's okay. This is a real black family. It was, they came off of, think of how many spinoffs that came off of.
Yeah.
All in the Family, then became Maude, and then from Maude became Good Times.
Yep.
Right? So that's insane in of itself. And they were going to have the mom be like a single mom. But they're like, no, we're not going to show the stereotypical of like a broken family and stuff. No, we're going to show the dad there. And there was some just great episodes that every time I see James and his father comes to visit that he ran away, left them.
Oh, yeah.
He comes and sees them and they reconnect. Every time I get teary-eyed. every single time. I can't watch that without crying.
It was one of the few shows that was amazing at balancing like the comedy with the drama.
Yeah,
and it was good. Well done.
No, again, the best dad. He was so fucking awesome and just so cool.
And compare the difference of the previous show we were just talking about. Mike Brady.
Oh, Mister
from the movie.
Yeah. Go ahead. Kidnap my wife. But when you use language like that, and one other thing I have to bring it up because it's so stupid. He was like fucking like 15 years younger than his wife, Esther Roll.
Yeah. Oh, you can
Esther
tell.
Roll, aka David Ortiz.
Yeah.
Fucking two of them, put them together. They look exactly like David Ortiz and Esther Roll. But he was like 15 years younger. Do you remember I guess he got into real hot water with the cast because he went on Howard Stern, and Howard Stern said, you should have won Academy Awards and acting awards because you sat there with a straight face and told Esther Roll that she was beautiful. Oh. And he was laughing about it. And then I guess the cast afterwards heard about it and got pissed because Esther Roll was like a real like fight for like civil rights and women's thing. Yeah. And for the black image on TV, and good for her. And she was all serious. You don't fuck with her.
Yeah. All right, David Ortiz.
Yeah, David Ortiz got pissed. Anyways, that was a good time. Sorry, Tom. So I'm going to go one that I kind of already mentioned a little bit, and it's not a TV show. It was WWF.
Okay.
I grew up with that
shit. It was called WWF.
Yeah, not WWE. And that was Hulk Hogan led fucking all American. Yeah, I am a real American. Yep. All that shit. My I still to this day don't know how he brought me and my brother to the Garden, who doesn't speak a fucking word of English, and brought us to the Garden, and we saw Snuka fight Captain Lou Albano in a steel cage and saw him jump off the steel cage onto Lou Albano. Unbelievable shit. I love the wrestling. And it is true. It's simple back then. There was no, sports entertainment. Everybody believed it. You had to believe it. It wasn't, they weren't fucking around. And as a young kid, you get up, no, come on, he's got to win this match. He's got to win. I got so into wrestling back then. And still to this day, I'm into it. But WWF, I never got into the Ric Flair shit. I never got into the Von Erichs and all that other stuff. They weren't really showing. We're from Boston, so we got the WWF and the New York channels. Yeah. And we every Saturday, I got to see him. And Jesse the Body Ventura, come on, McMahon. and him and all his racist comments, Chico Santana and Coco Beware. The B stands for buckwheat. What the fuck, dude?
I remember that.
And then they would show the women. And by the way, the best villain of that era was Ravishing Rick Rude. He'd come out.
That guy was the best.
And he cut the music. What I'd like now is for all you Cincinnati sweat hog, fat, underemployed losers to keep the noise down while I show your ladies what a real man looks like.
Was it Ravishing Rick Rude? Who was the guy that insulted the audience? He's like, all you people out there sitting on rented furniture.
Him and the Bobby the Brain Enid. So fucking hilarious. And then they would cut to fucking women like going nuts. And one would be a big woman. And Jesse would be like, look at her, McMahon. Tons of fun.
Oh, my God. Love it.
And then I'll never there's little things now you look back on YouTube videos. You're like, oh, my God. Pat Patterson, who was gay, who's now gay, and it's all they're fucking what's his name is showing his body off. What's his name there? Rick Rude. He's like, look, it's Pat Patterson going nuts. Dude, what the fuck, man?
Back in the day.
Now you pick up on shit. You're like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah, you got into wrestling. You got into that way more than me.
Oh, I loved it growing up. WrestleMania and all that shit.
Well, that leads me. That's a good segue to my next one because this is a show that I know my parents would watch with us. Speaking of sweat hogs, welcome back, Carter. Loved this show. One of the best ensemble casts. Gabe Carter and his wife, and every episode ended with him telling like a horrible dad joke.
Yes,
Yes.
He happens to be probably the least handsome, charismatic fucking leading man for a TV show of all time.
But I think that's what made it friggin' hilarious. Was he was just a complete dweeb, just
doofus.
You know. Yeah, it was
with
the
mustache and that afro that he had going
like
on.
Groucho Marx kind of shit going.
Yeah,
great show.
And the Sweat Hogs were just funny.
I loved them all. Travolta, obviously, everybody was like in love with Travolta.
I didn't like when they brought the fucking fake Travolta guy on.
No,
remember the guy took over him, like the Southern guy.
You can't do that.
Yeah, no. And then you got Epstein and Epstein's mom and
Washington. Oh, I love him. Hi there,
Freddie
Boom Washington. Hi there. Love that guy.
That was a fun show. Yeah.
Yep.
And the theme, and that's when theme music. That you think of WKRP, that and all the Dukes.
That was a real song, John Sebastian. That was a real song.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
the era of themes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one I had on my list over here, Tom. So I'll go to a different one too, and I'll go to a kind of a theme here, and that was Westerns. Now, we already talked a little bit about the Rifleman and Bonanza and all those other shows, but a show that I watched. And not many people might remember this, but it starred Chuck Connors and it was Branded. I don't know if you remember that show.
I don't. Branded was the name of it?
Branded. And the theme music is very good. It's by a well-written, like Hollywood writer came up with it, where he was Civil War veteran.
Okay.
And everybody in his group died except for him. And because he wanted to protect the reputation of his I don't know if it was the captain or whoever the cavalry leader was. He didn't want to admit that the guy had lost it and everyone died. So he won't admit that's what happened. So everyone thinks he's a chicken, but he's like one of the best soldiers. So he would travel the West and get into all these adventures, but his name preceded him. So he'd always have to overcome like being, you're so-and-so, you're the coward that did it. And it was just
I can't believe there's a show I can't believe I never heard of that.
You never heard of Brandon? I have the box set.
Wow.
It is my favorite. Such a great show. And the theme music. I bet you will be a ton of people that will remember the theme music. Even Al Bundy in Married with Children did an episode where he was a security cop and the people stole like the Polk High trophy.
Oh, yeah.
And he had to stand there and they stripped his thing off. That's what they do in Brandon. The cavalry, whatever, at the fort, they strip him off and then they kick him out and he has to like live with shame, even though he didn't do anything.
See, my dad never watched Westerns. Surprisingly, never got into them. Yeah.
And that was my favorite one. I went out years and years ago, about 10, 15 years ago. I found the box set of DVDs and I bought it. And there was 2 seasons of it. Fucking awesome. I love Brandon. Nice. I love Chuck Connors. And he's well known for what movie did he make an appearance in that you might remember?
Are we talking horror movies or
because he was in Naked? He was in Naked, not Naked Gun. He was in Airplane 2.
He's also in one of the most underrated, creepy fucking horror movies from the late 70s, Tourist Trap.
Yeah, he did like some like weird, like almost porn shit in later on in his career.
Yeah, he got weird.
And he's also well known.
Also, I'm known very, very well for pulling large pieces of furniture from my ass.
For being, I think, the first 2-sport professional athlete.
Oh, really?
Baseball professionally, and he played for the Celtics.
Oh, wow.
You know that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
2-sport athlete, professional athlete, Chuck Connors.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
All right. I got another one here. This is kind of the first of a duo here. And once I say this, I think everybody out there will understand what followed it every night.
Yeah.
And that's Happy Days.
Oh, yeah.
Huge one. Always. This is a show where I didn't care what era it was. I didn't care if it was Al or if it was friggin' or if it was Mr. Miyagi or whatever his name was. What was Pat Morita's name? Arnold. Thank you, Al and Arnold. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love the whole show. Every episode was great. All the characters were great. It was just a fun, like, feel good show, and every episode was always entertaining in some way. And that was a huge one in my house.
Yeah, and what I think about everything was Ralph Mouth, and I think fucking Andrew Dice Clay. Look at this redhead. What do they say to you? What did your girlfriend? Fuck me, howdy doody. Do me, Ralph Mouth.
Ralph Mouth. The best was Potsy, because Potsy thought he could sing.
Because Dell used to call fucking Murph Potsy.
don't see now people are going to, but he meant it with love. He meant it with love.
But anyway, the thing that I want to say is, I will say Henry Winkler has to be one of the greatest actors of all time. That he made a 5'6" guy look like the toughest son of a bitch.
Yep. He was amazing between the motorcycle, the jukebox, and then coming to the office was the men's room. Like, I mean, he had that apartment. I mean, the guy, he was a fucking legendary character.
Yeah.
Like, legendary.
And he wasn't this big, huge muscle head, just this guy. He was just essence of cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I mean, I grew up with Happy Days. Everybody loves Happy Days.
Yep.
So, all right, Tom, that's a good one. And I know what'll be coming after next. It's a sister show. Obviously.
Exactly.
The Gary Marshall fucking shit.
That's right. That's right.
So for me next, I will mention, how about this? I'll go into the Star Trek sci-fi. I loved it. Loved it. I watched the
like the original Star Trek.
Yeah, I never got into Next Generation or anything like that. I watched the original on syndication and stuff. And then when the movies came out, I got into it, especially Wrath of Khan, the greatest Star Trek movie of all time.
I've never seen anything Star Trek.
Star Trek Wrath of Khan has got some of the greatest dialogue of all
I know the
time.
movies, but never did it. I was like, nope, I'm a Star Wars geek. I'm not a Star Trek. Yeah. No, never did it.
Yeah, Star Trek has some great, the original, because you can follow it, not the Next Generation, 15 other generations is like, you got to be fucking Elon Musk to understand the plot, what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh no, we travel back in time. When you did that, you became him and he became you, and this happened. You're like, what? The old stuff, dude. There was an episode once, like, first of all, Kirk is banging everything, no matter what it is, and that's the other thing. Oh, hot chicks on Star Trek constantly, and he would bang everything in sight. There was an episode, one of my favorite ones. They land on a planet, and the god Apollo was there.
Okay,
and they're trying to show that the Greek gods were real, and they lived in on Earth many years ago, and just things move around in planets, and they were treated as gods, and they were worshipped there, and so like you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Is that how they're explaining it? And like, you're like, maybe if there were space creatures back then, of course they would be treated like, it's just fun stuff. And Spock, Leonard Nimoy is just such a fun character, the way he played it. And, the dashing, damn it, Jim. Like,
damn it, Jim. Yep.
Did you ever see the Simpsons one where they were making fun of it? Like, so old, and they were showing the Simpsons. They were showing what's his name there, Scotty. Scotty hit the button. He's so fat. He's like, I can't, Captain. His belly's out, and he's like, he can't press the button. Star Trek was just it was perfectly done. Couple years episodes. Then they did the movie. Now, I mean, I never got into it. I'm glad it's there because in case I ever really want to get into the rest of those, I can. But the original Star Trek was just something else.
Nice. I'm going to shift gears away from like sitcoms that like I like that hold like memories like for me individually.
Yeah.
A couple shows that were my dad's favorite that I got into just because there was like his number one. So to me, my son Michael will remember that Seinfeld is my all-time favorite show.
Mm-hmm.
I forever will remember that MASH is my dad's all-time favorite show. He got me into it to the point where I started watching it with him. And I loved it. I mean, that was his show, MASH.
I'm not sure if there was another more critically acclaimed award-winning TV show. I think that probably won the most.
Because it could be another show that balanced absolute hilarity with very grim, serious. Like, I mean, it was a mobile army surgical hospital. I remember telling my
people died on the show.
Oh, absolutely, many times, of course, yeah. But like Hawkeye, I mean, Alan Alda, one of the all-time great sitcom characters in the history of TV. Just a great friggin' show. Well acted, well written, tons of awesome characters. Back when Jamie Farr could dress as a woman and have it be funny.
Oh, good luck getting away with that today.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's one of those that I may not have watched it. And I did watch a couple times and think I know enough to know who's who.
Of course,
but there's respect there.
Exactly. Yep.
And that theme music is beautiful.
Have you ever heard the song with there's words?
Yeah,
to that song?
I have. Yeah, with the lyrics. Yeah.
Suicide is painless. That's the name of the song. It's horrendous, especially when you hear the words. It's like it's awful. Oh my God.
But it became a joke. Chris Rock said, I haven't seen white people so mad since they canceled MASH. Remember that?
Yes.
The last episode of MASH, I think, was like the
most watched non-Super Bowl TV in like history.
It became a point of reference when you would reference something. Well, it's not the last episode of MASH. People would use that constantly because of how big it was.
That's right. Because back in the days of like where there really wasn't much to watch, and MASH was like the biggest show on TV, and then B, when the final episode, and then you talk about syndication. Endless syndicate, kind of like before streaming when Seinfeld was on constantly on TBS, 7 days a week, all day on TBS. MASH was the same way.
Yeah, MASH. Then there was After MASH.
Oh God, don't even talk about just unwatchable.
Do you know that guy is the same guy that did Trapper John MD?
Like, that's another good show. That's a good show. That was a pretty good show. Yeah,
but the fucking character became somebody completely different.
Yep,
with a beard and a fucking all that shit, but he was supposed to be the guy from MASH.
Yep, that's right.
Weird.
Yep.
Yeah, that was all from MASH. All right, Tom. I'm gonna go with another one that we probably wouldn't have picked, or you probably wouldn't remember.
Okay.
And that is, I'm gonna go back to an old thing, and that was The Lone Ranger.
Oh yeah, of course. Yep.
With Clayton Moore.
Okay.
I fucking loved watching that with my grandfather.
Okay.
The
theme, of course.
The theme and the way he was like, Clayton Moore was like the perfect, like Christopher Reeve was the perfect Superman.
Yeah.
He was the perfect Lone Ranger. And his partner there, who's in a million things, the guy that played Tonto. I just loved the Lone Ranger. It was a fun, easy going. I used to watch it all the time, my grandfather and stuff.
I remember seeing clips of it and stuff. Of course, everybody knows that. Yeah.
Yeah. Legend. And that was I just remember him having problems years later on in his life and lawsuits because he kept wearing the mask and they're like, you can't fucking do it.
Yeah.
And people were like, what are you doing? Sue this old man? Leave him alone.
That's all the guy has, for God's sakes. Leave him alone.
Let him die with some dignity. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. The Lone Ranger would be mine.
Nice. Another one that I watched because my dad did, and I ended up getting into it. And this is kind of like the sweet spot. It was like a cop show, but it was a sitcom with an ensemble cast. Barney Miller. Oh yes. My God, dude.
With that mustache.
Great theme song, great cast. Oh yeah. The
theme song from Wicked Lester.
Yeah, pretty much exactly, kind of, yeah. Just a funny show, and Barney Miller and MASH, like I just think of my dad when I watch those and how funny and fun, and they were good shows. They had like plots to them, you know what I mean? But just so a really many funny
side characters.
Yes,
there was like you're getting hit from all sides. There are like 8 to like people that could pop in the episode, and you'd be like, he's got a little bit, he's got a little bit, he's got a little bit. I'll never forget one Barney Miller episode. One of my favorite. And if you can find it on YouTube, it's probably there.
Yep.
And that was where this guy got arrested and he was claiming he was Jesus.
Oh,
and
God.
they couldn't prove that he wasn't. He's a character actor. You've seen him in a million things afterwards. And he was Jesus. And then the guy, what's his name there? Was it Ron Glass that plays?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about his girlfriend on the phone, what he's going to do with her. And he looks over and he sees the guy and he's like, just so good. That's one of my favorite episodes. And they end up having a discussion about like, prove that I'm not.
Yeah.
And he's like, do we put this guy in a mental hospital where, this guy's not safe? What are we doing? But then they're like, oh, hold on. How do you know? Like shit starts happening and they're like, wait a minute. So anyways, I Barney Miller's a great pick, Tom. Great pick. Now I'm going to stay with the little older kind of shows, not as old as the Lone Ranger, but another superhero. And that is the original Batman series.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I fucking watched that religiously. I know why. I fucking watched the Catwoman in Batgirl so many times.
Dude, Catwoman.
You hear me brag about this.
I know.
Newmar is in That's going to be one of our things, Tom. Women in their prime that you.
Well, that'll be another Dome Damage episode. Our favorite
absolutely.
hot TV chicks.
Oh, in their prime.
Yeah.
66, Julie Newmar in the Catwoman outfit.
Yeah.
It was so, like, you watch it now, you can get a kick out of it. So intentionally cheesy. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
They're stealing. They're getting away. They're gonna kill. You have your seatbelt on, Robin? Holy seatbelt, Batman! You're right. We always must obey the law. Like, it's just so cheesy.
Terrible.
It's fucking hilarious. Egghead, King Tut, fucking the Joker, Cesar Romero with his mustache underneath the makeup.
The show was awesome. So funny.
Every like character actor of that time ended up becoming a villain. So fucking cool. I love it. I love the theme music to it. I love, and it's not just Batgirl and Julie Newmar as Catwoman. Other like villainesses like that were on the show, like the Joker's henchwoman or something like that, all dressed in tight, fucking shiny clothes. You're just like,
it's
what
crazy.
am I seeing?
Yeah,
so hot. Anyway,
probably my favorite show from this entire era, and I kind of had to sneak it in until I got a little bit older because, of course, the innuendos and all the stuff. But you've heard me talk about it before, and that's Three's Company. Just fucking, and then the fact that I found so Pluto is a streaming service. It's completely free, no subscription, but it's one of the greatest streaming services out there. And they have like dedicated channel. They have literally a Three's Company channel.
That's so
like,
good.
And they have a whole classic TV roster of like, they have like a Love Boat channel. We haven't mentioned Love Boat. They have like a Love Boat channel, Three's Company, and I just fucking absolutely I still love it now. Three's Company, and I remember that would be like, I'd kind of have to sneak it in because I was like a little too young to be watching that one in its prime.
I watched it in its prime on syndication, everything. Honestly, I'll look at this list. We say John Amos is the greatest TV dad. My favorite lead actor, comedic actor on anything, John Ritter.
Oh yeah,
so likable, so funny.
Yep,
that whole show, Three's Company. Yes, they're gonna have a misunderstanding. It's gonna be something stupid. There's gonna be an innuendo.
That's it. Every episode.
Fucking funny though.
Yep.
So stupid. And Mr. Furley and Mr. Roper.
Oh, the best. Larry Dallas.
Larry Dallas. Larry Dallas,
the
Greek neighbor. He come out with the chest hair. Remember when Larry went streaking?
He was so good. He was so good.
It was such a fucking ahead of its time. And I'm surprised it didn't get canceled with the Jack has to act like he's gay and Mr. Roper, Mr. Furley making gay jokes.
Jokes and all that stuff.
But in the end, they liked him as a person, as a friend. So I think it opened up doors, if anything, because they treated him like it's somebody, they may have kidded. That's because they're older and ignorant about that stuff. But they liked Jack as a person and they were still friends with him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have Three's Company is a top 5 for me. So I'm going to trust. Yep. I'm just picking stuff. If you didn't pick it, I have like a list of 20 something here. So if you didn't pick it, I'm not picking. Three's Company would have been in there. Good Times would have been in there. But John Ritter is just in a place of his own. Such a likable character. Plus, he had the great line from Bad Santa where he talked about the guy. He's a little guy. He didn't have these sausage fingers.
I thought.
Poor John
that'll be a
Ritter.
Dome Damage episode. Christmas movies.
And by the way, before we move on, who would your favorite roommate be?
Oh,
you know what? I'm gonna, jump ahead. I'm gonna say I liked Terry the best.
I did like Terry.
She was the hottest. I think. I thought Suzanne Summers became so stupid and annoying by the end when she had the ponytail on the side.
She was a big freaking.
Yeah. And
like
early, she was good.
Yeah,
and even the tall one, Cindy the Klutz, she was hot.
Cindy. I liked Cindy, but she was Terry was cute and kind of checked off all the boxes. Yeah.
I didn't like maybe you liked Lana, the neighbor.
I was just going to say Lana, the one who was always just trying to bang Jack.
She was like horny.
She was like the horny MILF.
And then RF kept trying to pick her up.
he tried to pick up everybody. I don't know. Don't sleep on little Joyce DeWitt, not Vinnie Vincent, but Joyce DeWitt.
No, Joyce. She was not attractive.
She was cute.
Not attractive at all.
All
right, Tom. You know what, Tom? I'm just going to go to the top of my list.
Okay.
Near the top, and that is the Jeffersons.
Oh, I can't believe it took this long to get there. Because I know there's going to be one other show that's going to be in there, too.
Oh, yeah. That's number one for me.
Yep.
But the Jeffersons and George Jefferson
was incredible. Incredible.
So Sherman Hemsley had some he's like John Ritterish. His charisma and his like quick one-liners and his personality, he could do anything, and I'd find him funny.
Yep. I agree. He's the best. He's the best.
It just...
What was the spinoff from that? Wasn't there a spinoff?
Well, for a little bit, what's the name? Went off on her own. She came back. Florence.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right.
Yeah.
It wasn't 227.
No, that was a different character.
I know.
Mr. Bentley. Ew, Mr. J.
Oh, God. It's a great show. Great show.
Oh, that was a great
All right, I'm going to go to another one. For some reason, I remember this being on like after school. I don't know if I ever watched it like when it was on, quote unquote. It was just so stupid. And I think as I got older, I just watched it for the chicks. That was Gilligan's Island. Because when I was younger, I was like, Ginger. Dude, they got a porn star on the island with them? They're lucky.
Oh, Ginger. I watch Gilligan's Island all the time.
I love
it.
So dumb. It's so fucking stupid.
Like all the things they come up with, they couldn't get on there. They couldn't build a boat all that time.
It's so dumb. The show is so dumb. It doesn't have staying power. It has like nostalgia power for me.
Yeah.
And it was just funny. Like the professor was like, and you had the friggin' the howls, lovey, like, and then I don't know. We'll have to talk about Marianne or Ginger.
Ginger.
I don't know. Hey, little buddy.
Little buddy.
That was a funny show though. But yeah, it doesn't really have very good staying power, but it was one that I watched obsessively.
That's from the guys that did the Brady Bunch. That's why it's like so corny that you look back and you're like,
Sherwood Schwartz.
The ship was built like the Brady Bunch house.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, all right, Tom. I'll pick one that we I think is an incredible ensemble and maybe could probably match and probably actually now I think about it was probably the best ensemble in here. And that's Taxi.
Oh God, yeah.
Fucking Loudcast and Jim Ignatowski.
A young Tony Danza.
Yeah. Judd Hirsch.
Yep.
And first of all, Danny DeVito. I'll give you one specific episode. If you can find it online, watch that one. That's the one where Jim Ignatowski has this dream that all these weird things are going to happen and Alex is going to die.
Yep.
And he's warning them. And they're all like, shut up, Jim. That's not true. And he's like, I warn you. And then Danny DeVito's character, Louis, he's like, listen to me. That's that druggie over there, whatever. Like, this shit happens. I've seen him do shit. And he's like trying to protect Alex. And Alex is like, no, I'm not going to fall into the superstition. I'm not going to do it. And the suspense that leads up to it. And they have to, like, at the end, at like midnight or something, Alex is supposed to open the door and death is supposed to be on the door. Just the episode, the build up to it, and he's there.
It's a great show.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. So good. And then the
great
other one
ensemble cast
with Loudcast all the time.
Yep. Oh God. Man on the Moon. Yeah, exactly.
He's fucking funny. And then do you remember the episode? He's like, what does a yellow he's trying to cheat on the exam?
Slow down. What does a yellow light?
Dude,
go watch
Christopher Lloyd. He's so fucked up with drugs that he's like,
Wasn't that and that show had the hot Mary Lou Henner?
Oh yeah, she had bombs.
Yes, she was hot.
Woo.
Yes.
But it had that annoying actress that plays Lotka's wife. I fucking can't stand that woman.
No, that's a great one. All right, so I got 3 left here on our list of 10, and they're going to I'm going to kind of veer away from the sitcom kind of aspect here. One of these shows is a morning show. 2 of them are primetime shows that have vivid memories. The first one is the greatest cartoon in the history of cartoons, and that is the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? From 1969, 1970, the originals. That's the best right there.
I have it down. The only cartoon I have listed, Tom.
Yep, the best. They got great later when they had the guests, Scooby-Doo meets Don Knotts. Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters. Just always love that show. And as somebody who is now like a huge horror fan, I always look at Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? As like a little gateway for young kids to get into horror, because they're always in spooky places. They're always trying to uncover mysteries. There's always a monster or a ghost or a ghoul or some kind of weird creepy type thing, haunted castle, a haunted mine, or a weird town. So I always thought it was like a really good gateway for like young kids to kind of get into something kind of spooky. But then it just had that cheesy comedy cartoon feel. Always loved Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The original. There you go.
Love that shit.
Exactly. Love it. Love it. Love it. And of course you got Shaggy.
Hey, Velma. Shaggy, come along, grab Scooby. Let's go get some Ace snacks.
Throw in the back of the van. I'm going to see if I can bang Daphne.
Oh, shit. I think I jerked off Fred instead.
Oh, nice ass, Scott. Can I use it to clean up? And then, of course, Scooby-Doo pulled a fucking Brady Bunch and brought Scrappy-Doo on, which is the worst character in the history of animated TV. Oh,
horrendous. Horrendous.
Yes. All right, go ahead.
And so another one for me is another sci-fi. And I used to love watching this shit. And that is The Twilight Zone.
Oh, yes. Excellent.
Great shit. Oh, my God. I bought that box set. I have those. I watch it from time to time. So many classic ones.
Yep.
So well written. The stories and stuff on there. Unbelievable. The one where the town, the light goes out and the towns, everyone's like, he did it. No, he did it. And everybody's fighting against each other. No, there are animals coming. And they end up shooting somebody and somebody dies.
Yep.
And then at the end, they scan away. You're like, look at this town. It's a fucking disarray. And you look up and they are aliens and like, see, we don't even have to do anything. All we have to do is this shit and they'll kill themselves.
Incredible.
And it's just a story. You're like, holy shit.
That show's so good. Oh my God. I always remember the one of Burgess Meredith.
Yes.
As the guy that loved to read. And he was the last man on earth. Yep. He's surrounded by nothing but books and his quiet and his solitude. And then he breaks his glasses. Oh, God almighty. Just brutal.
Yes.
Oh,
another scary thing I had was the girl. It's one of the first episodes. She was driving, and every time she would stop, she'd see the same hitchhiker.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
My way. And you're like, what the fuck, dude?
How about the one with Telly Savalas and the doll?
Oh,
remember that? Oh, the one with a guy. He's fighting with his wife, and on TV he sees like him like killing his wife like while he's watching TV. Like, dude, that show was so fucked up and far ahead of its time. It's incredible that came out when it did.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents. That was pretty good too.
Yeah,
not as good, but yeah,
it was good.
The Twilight Zone. I love that shit.
Nice. All right, my number 9. I got cut. I'm gonna finish off with 2 variety shows. And these remind me of like the nighttime kind of evening shows. The first one, The Muppet Show, which was fucking huge when we were growing up because celebrities went on there, actors, musicians. That was a huge event. The original Muppet Show. And it was on at, 7, 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge, obviously everybody remembers the iconic theme, the intro. Always loved The Muppet Show. Yeah. So I've always loved the Muppets, period, but I love that. What are you talking about? You guys keep calling me a fucking Muppet. I was never on that.
They hired me to be in the band. I got a couple of bags of blow and I asked Anton to join me.
Yeah, that guy, Dr. Teeth, he took my spot.
Yeah, the Muppet Show is very nostalgic. So everybody's watching that shit back then, you know?
Yep.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Tom, my last one is probably my favorite show of all time. I talk about it all the time with you, and that is number 1, the funniest guy ever, and I think he's my favorite comedian of all time, and that is Sanford and Son.
Absolutely. Oh, my God.
I can watch Red Fox do like every time that face when Aunt Esther comes in, and the two of them back and forth. He was such a lovable curmudgeon, miserable fuck. Fucking hilarious.
And Lamont played such a good straight guy to him. You know what I mean? Like such like a it was so good. It's so
he
good.
Kept calling him a dummy. It's the funniest thing. Yeah, dummy. Just so fucking hilarious. And it just his thing with Aunt Esther, and you hear the backstory, like that was his like running partner and comedic partner that he wanted to put her on the show, and they were friends since childhood, and he put her on. They've been doing those jokes and night fucking club routines for years.
Forever. Yeah.
And the shit was so non-PC, racist fucking comedic
brutal,
shit.
Brutal.
Great characters like Grady, Bubba,
Grady,
and Rollo. Why you always make me feel like a criminal when I come into your house? Because I want you to feel at home.
It's so good. So good.
Oh, man. I fucking love it.
It's so good.
Aunt Esther. Watch it, sucker.
Sucker.
Makes an appearance in Friday.
Oh, she's the best.
Fuck you, half-dead motherfucker. And in the don't drink a juice. Ma, the gang needs me. Gang.
Oh yeah, don't drink your juice while something and something. Yeah.
Bartholomew, get in this house, or you're going to have 3 shoes on, 2 on your feet, and 1 in your ass, sucker.
So good.
Oh, I love her.
All right, we're going to finish up with one that is extremely nostalgic. You guys will laugh at it, but I don't care. Huge memories of Saturday nights. For some reason, Saturday night is in my head. And I think my older sister was kind of the one that got me into this. And we grew up in a house filled with music. My dad was always listening to cassettes, records, CDs. This was the event, and you were always excited to see who was going to be performing on it. Solid Gold. Absolutely fucking loved the Solid Gold dancers, the performers, and they would come out. Just a huge, huge show, especially for me and my sister growing up.
Was that the one with Danny Terrio?
That was Dance Fever. That was Dance Fever.
Eddie Murphy said, "What the fuck are you doing? I don't know what the fuck I was doing, hanging out with Danny Terrio."
No, that was the one they had. Marilyn McCoo was one of the hosts, and you just had the Solid Gold dancers. Then you would have bands come on and push there. It was just like it was a music dance variety.
Yeah, I remember Solid Gold. I just couldn't differentiate that. And
dude,
Danny Terrio.
Good call with Danny Terrio and Dance Fever. I forgot about that one. Holy shit.
I just remember the line from Eddie Murphy.
Murphy.
Danny Terrio. Yeah, Tom, a lot of these are stuff that we all saw. And
of course.
The big one that's not on here, 2 of them, I think there easily could have been here. And that would be Different Strokes and Arnold getting molested by fucking the guy from WKRP and Dudley's dad.
See, I always look at Different Strokes as an 80s show. I always think of that as an 80s show for me. By the way, another one we didn't bring up, WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, that was that one too. And then the other one too was All in the Family.
All in the Family. Yeah.
I mean,
I love it now in retrospect. We just never really watched it. I mean, it wasn't really no reason why. There's
some great ones, but it's way over the top. I liked the Norman Lear Black shows that came on afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
The spin-offs that came from that stuff.
Yep, funnier.
The Jeffersons. I even liked Maude.
Maude was actually really good.
Sanford and Son.
Yep.
All that stuff that he did.
Yep.
And they were just so much fun. 2 other shows I think that kind of in our nostalgia would be the Dukes of Hazzard, but that's
I was gonna put that on. I was gonna put that on my list. I was gonna put that on.
Alice.
Loved Alice. Great show.
I liked Mel.
Yeah, who? Vic Tayback? The guy was a fucking asshole.
Mel Sharples? Was that his name?
Yeah, something like that. A couple of the honorable mentions. The sister show to Happy Days, obviously Laverne and Shirley was legendary. And then another show, I don't know who fucking came. It must have been all the drugs from the 70s. Let's have a show called Mork and Mindy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Just
Gary Marshall.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure I can't wait to see what the listeners are going to come up with. I'm sure there's a couple shows we didn't touch on, but this right here is just a massive slice of nostalgia right here.
So
talking about all this.
Listening to this, and I could trade my list with yours and be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know a lot of the Westerns, but I'm not opposed to Westerns.
Yeah. If you should watch Branded, you'd love it.
Okay.
But just to me, I don't know. If I had to take a combination of this list, I would probably take Sanford and Son and Three's Company. Good Times off yours. And I don't know. The Jeffersons.
Yeah, Sanford and Son and Brady Bunch would be the ones I'd definitely steal from your list because those are just two of the greatest.
Fantastic. Yep. I love talking about this shit. The nostalgia is amazing.
Me too.
Yeah. And Tom, tell people they can find us.
Go to our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. It's the home for Shout It Out Loudcast. It's the home for Dorm Damage, Album Review Crew, Zeppelin Chronicles. We got shows all over the place, spinoffs after spinoffs. Speaking of spinoffs tonight, we got spinoffs, and Dorm Damage is one of them. So we're excited to do this one. We can't wait to see what you guys had, and we can't wait to hear like the different generations of people. Like obviously, we have older listeners, we have younger listeners. So this will be a fun one for some discussion online. So we're excited to hear what you guys think.
Yeah. Till next time. Peace out, Girl Scout.